What if I tell you social media and drugs don't have that many differences? Unfortunately. So we all know that drugs are substances that people consume in order to change the bodily functions by changing the chemical reactions happening inside their bodies. For example, cocaine is a substance that you use in order to higher up the levels of dopamine that your body is generating. And in case you don't know, dopamine is essentially the happy hormone. So whenever you feel any sort of sense of accomplishment or feeling reward or feeling happy, that's because your dopamine levels are increasing. Your happy hormones are essentially making you feeling all fuzzy and good and happy about yourself, right? Well, social media actually plays around with that in spades, and you'd be shocked to see how. I'll give you examples. So let's say you get a notification, a like, or something like that, or a comment or reply or retweet or anything like that. You actually get some boost of dopamine because you're getting noticed. It's exciting to see what's going on, or you see that big red glowy button in your screen. You're like, oh, what's that? I gotta click on it because it feels exciting to see, right? The content you see also gives you so much dopamine boost. I mean, think about it. It is recommending you exactly what you want to watch. You want a bunch of video games? No problem. Here we go. Here's a bunch of video game videos right in front of you. You love video games, you love sports, you love music? Well, here we go. Here's everything you want about those topics because it will give you everything that you desire, everything that your brain will feel extraordinarily comfortable with. And sometimes it is giving you some content that your brain should not be consuming but is definitely loving. And you know what I'm talking about, because literally social media is softcore porn. There is so much pornography in social media. If you want to see people that are half naked, go ahead, because you have tons of photos and videos about people dancing or showing their bodies. And the thing is that it is normalized. So you can go ahead and watch these half naked women or half naked men. You're literally exposed to thousands of attractive people on the internet. And it's not normal for your brain to process this. It's not normal for you to have that many attractive people being shown to you all at once. It is abnormal, but of course it is dopamine boosting. And that's the key thing here. And speaking of just getting exposed to thousands of things at once, Reels, oh my god, Reels, or TikTok videos or shorts or whatever you want to call it these days, but essentially you get introduced to so many short videos that are as short as a minute, and essentially you get to see all kinds of content. It can be quite overwhelming in a sense, but your brain is feeling so much comfort by seeing so many different videos all at once. And actually, speaking more about these short videos, well, they actually implement a concept that you might be familiar with, and that is gambling. Yes, gambling. And you might be thinking, whoa, gambling? How is that so? Well, let's look how a TikTok video usually works. Usually when you click on that TikTok video, whenever you open TikTok, for example, and you open a video, usually it's like 30 seconds long, you get introduced to a cool new video, and then you keep scrolling. But then sometimes when you scroll, the video isn't necessarily that intriguing sometimes. Like sometimes, oh, the video is amazing, that's great, oh, this is awesome, but then sometimes it's really not. It's sometimes just a video usually doesn't have much reactions, much likes, not something that you're really that into. But then you keep scrolling and eventually you'll see another video that is amazing and it feels so great to see, and it's like, wow, it feels awesome. And then it's like, wow, you get kind of like that dopamine hit from that video, and then you keep scrolling down again, and hopefully you'll keep finding that another awesome video that will make you feel that kind of greatness, right? That is the same principle that is being used in most gambling machines. Whenever you spin the roulette, sometimes, occasionally, you will win, right? You will win some money and it will feel so great to have that earning, right? And that dopamine boost you get from that winning makes you think, okay, wait, you know what? That would be great. Maybe I can keep trying again to see if I can get, that reward again, that sense of reward, that money, right? And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going and you keep basically pushing on that roulette as much as you possibly can, because it's so addicting. It gets you hooked so easily. Well, TikTok does the exact same thing. Literally, like when you think about it, it does the exact same thing. You are being hooked from that scheme that they have implemented on their short video algorithms. And that's what makes you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling forever on their platform. And speaking of infinite scrolling, oh my god, that is another crazy concept. Infinite scrolling, every single social application is using infinite scrolling because, well, the amount of content that you can get introduced to is crazy. There is so much content around the platform. It is ridiculous, because the thing is, there are millions and millions of people contributing to these platforms. They're giving so much of their time to put content. So that way, the user, you can get a flood of them. You can keep going forever if you want to keep scrolling forever on these platforms, and you will realize that you'll never ever get to see all the content that exists, even if you tried. Even if you went and used all your 24 hours every single day, you had no sleep, you would still not be able to watch all the content that exists online. That is ridiculous. And that's the thing, they have a plethora of content to advertise to you, the user. And speaking of, they're giving you exactly what you want. Exactly. Look at all these recommendations right now. Look at the recommendations right next to me, and you will notice that most of these videos that you're seeing are stuff that you can consume and you can enjoy, because all of these platforms know so much about you, more than you think. So let's assume that you're kind of looking to get into games, and so you decided to go ahead and buy a PS4 and a couple of games on Amazon to get into gaming, right? And let's assume that you've never watched video game related content on TikTok. So you bought a PS4, you've started playing with it a little bit, and a month later you start getting some video game recommendations. Now it won't be like right in your face, like, oh, by the way, I know that you bought a PS4, so here we go, here's a wonderful gaming video for you. No, of course not. While you keep scrolling mindlessly on videos or on content, it will just introduce it to you slowly, like, oh, by the way, just nudge it a little to you, like, hey, here's a video game video, just checking to see if you kind of like it, and then, oh, okay, so it seems like you kind of like video games now. Okay, so we'll pump up a few more and see if you like them, but we won't pump them all together. We'll maybe pump a few more now with a higher frequency of them, and then it keeps pumping a bit more and more with a bit bigger frequency, more and more video game content being thrown at you. And it's crazy, you haven't even showed to them that you have interest in video games initially, and they have gotten that data somewhere else, because I am telling you, the amount of data that has prevailed around the internet that it knows about you is crazy. And social media platforms definitely use these things to their advantage, because they want to get you in, they want to keep you on the app as long as possible. So they need to give you recommendations that will make sure that you enjoy, so that way the more you enjoy the content, the more you are on the app, because that's ultimately their goal. Their goal is to keep you hooked on the app as long as possible, because the longer that you are on their app, the more you interact with advertisements, and the more you interact with advertisements, well, the more money they end up making. That's literally the business, the billion-dollar business behind social media. They're making all their money through advertisements. And of course, with that much money being in play, they're going to try their absolute best to get you on the app, to keep you on there for as long as possible. Like, did you know that they actually hire psychologists to actually know exactly how the human brain works to keep making them hooked on those platforms? No, seriously, they know the sound they need to play in order to keep you on that app. They know the shape, the sizes, the colors that need to be used in order to keep you on that app. It's crazy. They really, down to the pixel, understand how to keep general people on these applications, because of course, the more you interact on this application, the more money they make. So this might seem harmless. You might be thinking, okay, well, that's fine. A business has to make money, right? The thing is, they're completely neglecting the cost of all this, and that is the users. The users are paying a ridiculous price for this app, and you might be thinking, oh, but it's absolutely free. But is it though? Yes, of course. You can download all these apps for free. You can use them. You can have access to them on pretty much any device you want. But they're actually taking away the most valuable currency that you have, the most valuable possession that you currently own. And that's not money. That is your time, your attention. They're using your time and attention to grow their brand, to grow their revenue, and to get as much value as possible from you. You are the product. That's what it means. You keep hearing that saying all the time, but you are the product. They are literally taking away your time because you are the product. And with all of that time being taken away, instead of actually pursuing your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, unfortunately, you aren't doing any of that, because, well, social media is literally making it impossible for you to get off their platform and for you to focus on what you need to do in your life to achieve your goals. Those huge businesses, those corporations do not care about you. They do not care about your mental health. If you can keep scrolling through the app 5 hours a day, they will actually be very content of that. And it is shown through the way they design the app. It is shown by how much time and focus and energy they're putting in order to keep you on there. If they really cared about you, they would not be doing any of this. I assure you. So if you're watching this video, you're probably suffering through social media addiction. You cannot sustain yourself from social media. Because yes, of course, it is fine to use social media in moderation, but it's so hard to. It's so hard to just use social media for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, because of course you will be hooked. You will be hooked very easily. Yes, some people might think that, oh, but actually I use social media every day, 15 minutes a day, and it doesn't really affect me much. That's fine. That's great for you actually. But the majority of people don't work this way because again, psychologists know exactly what the majority of people want to make sure that they stay on those apps for longer. And so you're playing against these people. You're playing against those big corporations that have so many software engineers and so many psychologists that know exactly how to keep you in there forever. So now you might be thinking, what do I need to do in order to reduce the consumption of those applications? Because I would imagine that you're probably always consuming so much social media and you want to reduce that consumption as much as possible. Believe me, I was there before at one point. I remember when I would wake up in the morning and every single time I would watch like an hour of YouTube. Like I would start my day with an hour of YouTube. I won't start like being productive. I would start it with YouTube. And no, you think this is it? No, I would keep watching YouTube throughout the day and then end up realizing that I'm actually watching like 4 hours of YouTube every single day. And that is crazy. 4 hours. And then I end up realizing that, yeah, I ended up spending so much time on there. And it's crazy because I could have done so much, and it was so hard to get off of it because it was giving me exactly what I wanted. I felt like I could not rationalize myself into getting off the platform because again, it was so addicting. It was so fun, but in the short term manner, it wasn't fun for long term because obviously after all this wasted time, I would realize that I could have done much better things. Even for my own entertainment, there's better ways of enjoying life than to just watch a bunch of video game related topics or watching a bunch of streams or whatnot. It was not healthy and it was not productive at all. And so if you're stuck in this kind of situation yourself with Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, I would say finding a hobby really is the long-term cure in order for you to get off social media. Whenever you actually have a better alternative to use your time, definitely social media is the last thing that comes into mind when you have much better, more exciting projects to take over, right? Try to find a project that still makes you feel comfortable to some degree, but also you still have that sense of productivity, that sense of growth happening while trying to pursue these projects. I'd also say try to go out some more because the thing is, as humans, we need this sort of social interaction, right? And social media is kind of replacing that, but it should never replace that because ultimately the best way to have that kind of social interaction is by going outside, by seeing people, by seeing friends. So try to go out as much as you can when you have free time, right? So because that way you get that actual genuine social interaction that will actually make you feel better about yourself because you're making connections, you're basically interacting socially, but there's still some sense of productivity happening. You're developing connections, you're learning about things, you're building bonds with others. It feels great overall. It feels ultimately very fulfilling and very productive. And if there's one big advice that I'll give you, something that is easy to make, and I think everybody that's watching this video can do this very easily, and it is to install plugins or installing third-party apps that can allow monitoring or control your access through those applications that you're using. Right now, I have a few browser extensions that make sure that I have some sort of limit in how I use those social media. Like for example, my YouTube page, I use something called DF YouTube, distraction for YouTube. And essentially, think about YouTube, your YouTube platform, the same YouTube platform, but there's literally just a search bar and no recommendations, none, just your search bar. So you get to search exactly what you're looking for. So there's less distractions along your way. And there are plenty of plugins like this that exist for Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. They either monitor your access or they either change the layout of the page so that way there is less things to interact with, less of these distracting elements on these pages in order for you to just consume exactly what you're looking for. Because sometimes, let's not lie here, a lot of times we'd be looking on social media for actual productive things because there's definitely some positives from social media, like looking at news, trying to listen to some music to focus on our studies or our work or whatnot, but then we always end up being diverged because of course it's so difficult to rationalize in your brain right now in the split second that, oh, instead of actually focusing on your work, that takes time, energy, and effort, and it's going to be so hard to be in this comfort zone. Why not just watch a couple of memes or a couple of funny videos, just to make you feel all great inside? But in the long term, it'll kill you. That's the issue though. Please, if you can get out of this video, at least by doing something productive, is to install these plugins. Trust me, they are crazy helpful. Like if you're able to download Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or any of these apps knowing that you will be wasting quite a lot of time onto these platforms, then how come you don't want to download a plugin that'll allow you to save time? Time is your most valuable currency. It is more valuable than money. You can do so much with time. And you know what's crazy? These plugins, when you think about it, don't just save you time. No, they gain you time. Because if you can go from spending thousands of hours in a year using social media to 100 to 10 hours, then congratulations, you have saved hundreds of hours. Think about how precious that is. You haven't just saved the hundreds of hours, you have literally bought yourself hundreds of hours. You have bought time. Think about, you have bought time. You know they keep saying that you cannot buy time, right? Like I would say once you spend time, that's it, it's gone. But no, actually, this is like literally buying time when you're installing these plugins. So I don't know how you cannot justify the fact that you can literally buy time right now. Like literally, these plugins can literally buy time. Like come on. Like this is free. You're buying time free. Like at this point, come on. How else should I be selling this to you? Like you should download this right now. Like come on, man, do something productive, man, for the day. You probably just... Regardless, I hope that this video really opened your eyes about social media and addiction, and I hope that eventually you'll end up understanding how to reduce that consumption yourself, because ultimately, your mental health is extraordinarily important. It's extremely valuable, and you should really take care of it. If you're looking to reduce social media consumption, well, best of luck. You got this.